This is Mr. Max with Sankofa Mathematics. So I'm doing a test that I gave to the grade 12 AS learners. It's on sequences and series and some sigma notation and sum to infinity. So you will see at the link below the video, I will put the link to the test so you can download it, and then you can also follow the test with me. Okay, so I have about 8 questions or so, all right, that you can have a look at, and also I hope it helps you with the work that you have been doing in class. Okay, so let's start with the very first question. So it says a circle is divided into 6 unequal sectors, the angles of which form an arithmetic progression. Right, so let's look at what that is. So we know that we have got an arithmetic progression. So 6 unequal sectors. So I'm going to have term 1 plus term 2 all the way up to term 6. And that should give me 360 degrees. Okay, why 360 degrees? So suppose you have a circle, and I'm just going to show. So these are sectors, for example. Okay, so you have a circle there with 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we can bring in another one. So with 6 sectors like that. So when you add all these angles at the center, they should add up to 360. You get where I'm going with that? So that's why I'm saying all of that should equal to 360. Okay, now let us work on that concept. So the first term is A, the second term will be A plus D, the third term will be A plus 2D, and that will be A plus 3D, and then you have A plus 4D, and then A plus 5D, all equal to 360. So why is the first term A? So you know that it forms an arithmetic progression. Arithmetic progressions are typically in the form, that is a general formula. So which means if you now had to look at the first term, then it would be, the first term would be given by that there. So obviously it's leaving you with A. Okay, so subsequently the second term again will be A plus 2 minus 1 D. That's why the second term is A plus D. All right, what we have here. Okay, so we can just sort of clean that up, and we create an equation. So the equation I'm going to create is going to be, if you count all these A's together, you get 6 of them, so that's 6A. If you count all the D's together, that's 3D, 6D, 10D, 15D. So that's 15D. That gives you 360. Well, you can go ahead and divide this equation by 3. So it will then subdivide to 2A plus 5D equals 120. So this could be my first equation here. So the second one, they say the largest angle. And when you look at in this particular scenario here, the largest angle is A plus 5D, and the smallest angle is A. So the smallest is A, and the largest angle is A plus 5D. Okay? So what does that tell us? It says that the largest angle, which is A plus 5D, is 3 times the smallest angle. So 3 times the smallest angle is equal to the largest angle. Alright, so let's just get everything to this side and let that equal to 0. So again, this is going to give you 2a minus 5d is equal to 0, and that is your second equation. So we're going to solve these two equations simultaneously. Okay, right, so I can say 2a plus 5d equals 120, and I have 2a minus 5d equals to 0. So that is a, and that's b. So what I can do is I can subtract equation b from equation a. Okay, so that means I'm subtracting the whole thing. So I'm going to subtract the whole of that. So obviously those cancel, and this is giving you 10d, that's 5 minus negative 5, and that's 120. So d will be 120 divided by 10, therefore d is equal to 12. Now we have to find the value of a. So we can substitute into any one of equation a or b. So we can say 2a minus 5d equals to 0. But we know that the value of d from our previous work, our value of d is 12. Okay, so that's 2a minus 60 is equal to 0. So this gives you 2a is equal to 60. In turn, you can find the value of a by saying 60 divided by 2. Then a is equal to 30. Okay, so that's the first term. So now the question wants us to find the angle of each sector. So each sector, the angle will be, so the first one will be 30 degrees. And then if you add, okay, if you add the 12 there, then you're going to get the next one. So 30 degrees adding 12, that gives you 42 degrees, adding another one, that gives you 54 degrees, adding another 12, that will give you 66 degrees, adding another one will give you 78 degrees, and the last one will be 90 degrees. And you can see from our information, you can see that 90 is 3 times the first one. Anyway, these are the solutions to the question. Question 2. Stanley has a task of digging an area, and the area he has to dig is 800 square meters. On the first day, he digs 10 meters square, and each day it will be 1.2 times the area. Okay, so that's, for example, the first term. So to get the next term, I'll multiply by 1.2. Okay, so I'm looking at a second term, I'm looking at a third term, perhaps I can go up to the fourth term. Right, so once you multiply by 1.2, this one becomes 12. Multiply again by 1.2, then we get 14.4. When you multiply that again by 1.2, that gives you 17.28. So you've got 17.28, and so on. Okay, so these are our terms. So we know from this information of this 1.2 times the area of the previous, this has to be a GP. Okay, so our first term is 10, and our common ratio, you take term 2, divide by term 1, term 2 being 12, divide by term 1 being 10. But we are already given this value here. So what we need to find is the sum. So we need to use the S sub n formula. So we know that S sub n is equal to 800. That is what we are working with. So we're going to use the sum of series of a geometric progression. So that means you're going to use this formula, A, and then you have r to the n minus 1 over r minus 1. Okay, so our first term we said it's 10. Our r is 1.2 to the n minus 1 over 1.2 minus 1 is equal to 800. So we clean that up. Okay, so if you take this here, the difference here, and you divide it into that, you're going to end up with a 50. Okay, and then you have 1.2 to the n minus 1 is equal to 800. So from this point on forward, you are dividing throughout by 50 in order for you to have 1.2 to the n minus 1 is equal to, well, so when you divide that in there, it gives you 16. Well, you can still go ahead and clean this up. So it's 1.2 to the n equals to 16 plus 1, which is 1.2 to the n is equal to 17. So what you would want to do is you would want to take logs on both sides because you are looking for the unknown happens to be a power. So that is log 1.2 and in front is equal to log 17. So n would be log 17 divided by log 1.2. Okay, let's grab a calculator. So that's log 17 divided by log 1.2. So you get about 15.5. So which equals to 15.5, 396 and so on and so on. So the question is asking the number of days. So in order for us to conclude properly, you can't say only 15 days because it still has got some. So you can say you will complete the work in 60 days. Stand by for the rest of the test.